You never forget the moment when help comes, but comes too late. The world is loud, then very quiet, and a simple delay becomes a lifetime of regret. These are 20 true-to-life moments, told in simple words, so we can learn before it happens. To us. 1. The missed text. Maya feels a heavy weight in her chest just after sunrise. She grabs her phone and types, "Come please," to her sister next door. The message sits unsent because the signal is weak. Her sister makes tea, wondering why the morning is so silent. By the time she knocks, Maya's breathing is thin. The color gone from her face. The ambulance comes fast. But the first small message that never left the phone cost too many minutes. To the flooded road, Rafi drives home during monsoon rain, water moving like a river across the highway. He calls for help and is told to wait for a rescue truck. His car engine stops, water climbs to his knees, then his chest. A passerby throws a rope but slips and falls. The rescue truck arrives with bright lights, but the river has already taken the car out of reach. 3. The locked fire exit in a small dance hall. Smoke begins in a back room. People rush to the nearest door and find it chained for security. Someone calls the fire service and they race across town. But the crowd pushes and turns. The air bites the throat. When firefighters finally cut the chain, the hallway is a tomb of quiet music and dropped phones. For the rural ambulance on a farm, little Zoya eats a sweet with nuts, not knowing her allergy is serious. Her throat tightens, she gasps. Her father searches for the EpiPen. It is expired. He prays it still works, but the sting is weak. He calls the ambulance. It is far, the road is broken, they drive toward each other. But the meeting point is too late by 5 minutes that feel like a century. 5. The stalled elevator. Imran, who has asthma, enters an old lift after a long day. The elevator stops between floors. The air warm and dry. He presses the alarm. The building guard calls a technician. Minutes pass like slow stones rolling. When they pry open the doors at last, his inhaler is in his pocket, but his breath is already gone. 6. The lost hiker, Ariba, leaves the trail for a better view. Her phone at 3% battery. Clouds wrap the mountain like a blanket. The path disappears. She dials emergency. The call drops. A rescue team forms. But the fog is thick and the light fades. At dawn they find footprints, then a scarf, then Ariba under a cold pine, as quiet as the sky. 7. The school bus on the bridge. A river rises fast after a night of rain. The school bus stops on a narrow bridge. The driver calls for help. The water licks the tires and grows. Parents rush to the riverbank. Officials argue about which road is clear. A tow truck arrives late because the first route is blocked by a fallen tree. The bus tilts, then slides, and the river tells a story no parent ever wants to hear. 8. The dawn hit and run before sunrise. A cyclist named Omar pedals to work. A car clips his wheel and speeds away. He lies by the road, half in shadow, his breath fogging the cool air. 3 cars pass, then 4. Each driver thinking someone else will stop. An ambulance finally comes after a jogger calls, but the early hours have already taken their taxes. 9. The wrong location. Pin Samina dials emergency from a new apartment building with a confusing name. Her call routes to a center in another district. She keeps saying the street. The operator hears a different one with the same name. The team goes to the wrong block first. When they correct and arrive, the room is quiet and a kettle still whistles. On the stove, 10. The slow landslide in a hill village. The soil moves like a patient animal. Cracks appear in walls. Chickens cluck and run. A bulldozer is requested. But the machine is in a town 2 hours away. Rain keeps falling. The hill gets heavy. By the time the engine's roar reaches the village, the ground has already swallowed 3 homes. 11. The closed maternity ward. Lena's contractions come strong at midnight. The nearest maternity ward closed last month. Low demand, they said. They drive to a hospital far away, road under repair, detours like a maze. On the back seat, Lena cries out, then grows quiet. At the hospital entrance, 2 lives become 1, and the parking lights reflect in tears. 12. The stadium gate crowds press into a narrow gate, music loud, banners bright, security radios for more staff. But the main team is across the field. People push. A child loses his shoe. A mother loses her grip. When the side gates finally open, the pressure releases like a spring. But pressure always takes something first before it lets go. 13. The silent. Poison in a roadside motel. A heater leaks carbon monoxide. A family sleeps. Dreaming of tomorrow's drive, a housekeeper notices they did not come for breakfast and knocks. She calls for help fast. But the breaths are shallow and slow. Sirens arrive in minutes. The gas did its work in the dark hours before dawn. 14. The ring of fire. A wind shift turns a brush fire into a wall of flame. A family thinks they have time because the alert on their phone came late. They pack slowly, take photos from the porch, then see embers like red bees. They scramble into the car, heat pressing the windows. Firefighters reach the road as the last fence line becomes a bright, hungry mouth. 15. The callback. Nadia dials emergency about a violent partner and then hangs up, afraid. The operator calls back. Nadia whispers that everything is fine. The call is marked low priority because there is a bigger incident nearby. A neighbor hears a shout and calls again, urgency in her voice. The patrol car arrives to a broken door and a room that answers. No questions. 16. The full shelter during a winter storm. An old man named Javed walks to the shelter with a thin coat. The sign says, full. The staff is kind but have no beds. He sits under the shelter awning, wrapping his hands in his scarf. A volunteer calls another center. The line is busy. An hour later, a van arrives, but cold does not wait kindly for warm hands. 17. The platform circle on a busy subway platform. A man falls and begins to seize. People gather. Some take out phones. Some step back, fearful. Someone finally hits the red button and asks for help. Staff rushes with a kit. The train brakes, screech in the tunnel. Care comes, but so does the train, and time itself seems to slip between the rails. 18. The rooftop rope floodwater traps a family on a flat roof. Night full of thunder. A helicopter circles but cannot land. Power lines dance in the wind. Rescuers throw a rope. It is short by 2 meters. They call for a longer line from another team. When it arrives, the water has climbed the stairs and taken the last dry corner. 19. The empty pharmacy. A young man, Amir, needs insulin tonight, not tomorrow. The 24-hour pharmacy is closed for inventory. A sign taped to the glass. He calls a hotline. They send him to another store across town. The rideshare is slow in the rain. The driver lost in side streets. By the time Amir reaches the counter, his hands are shaking and the world is already far away. 20. The bridge rail. A negotiator drives to a high bridge where a woman stands alone. Traffic is heavy because of a small crash at the toll booth. He flashes lights, taps the horn, checks his watch. When he runs up the walkway, breathless, the rail is empty and the river keeps its own. Secrets. Why do these things happen? Because minutes matter. and minutes hide in small places. A dead phone battery steals minutes. A wrong street name steals minutes. A locked door steals minutes. A closed ward steals minutes. We think it will be fine. It is just a small delay. But help is a race, and the finish line moves every second. What can we do today? Keep a list of the nearest open hospital, 24-hour pharmacy, and emergency numbers taped above the light switch. Learn basic first aid, CPR, choking rescue, how to use an EpiPen and an inhaler. Check smoke alarms and carbon monoxide detectors. This week, not later, share your exact location clearly when calling for help. Confirm it back to the operator. Keep your phone charged. Store a power bank in your bag or car. In crowds, open gates, not just arguments. And notice the small people first. If you see someone in trouble, do not only film, call, direct, protect. Final note for you, for me, for us, these stories are told with changed names and blended details. But the lessons are real. Help is not only sirens and uniforms. Help is also a neighbor's knock, a spare inhaler, an open gate, a clear street sign, a charged phone. Tonight, choose one small thing and fix it. Replace a battery, learn a skill, write a number, plan a route. Because when the moment comes, we do not get to buy back 5 minutes. We only get what we prepared in the calm, and what we do in the first bright second of fear. Let's make sure help does not arrive late, because of something we could change today.